Welcome to the Duggan Pirate. Put your hands together for a Newcastle United and England legend to give us his views on today's game. Newcastle 1, West Ham United 1. Put your hands together for Supermac. Malcolm, welcome back. Do you want to come up? Excuse me, Ben. Thank you. Malcolm, I went for a 2-0 win, you went for 3-0. I don't think it was ever going to be that kind of game, although it looked like it in those first couple of minutes. Joe Willock scoring a goal, rightly disallowed. But then Callum Wilson breaking that 11-game duck that we talked about pre-match with a great finish.
Yeah, really frustrating today, I thought. It just seems to me that when we get a very early goal, that we're not able to follow it up, which is important. We seem to be a better side scoring in the second half. I know it might sound a bit daft to some people, but that's just it. There seems to be almost a pattern being created over this particular season. And I found it very frustrating today. I think maybe because the players themselves were frustrated, things weren't going right. We lacked certainly in midfield. And when you look at the performance of Declan Rice and compare it with the midfield of Newcastle, I think you can see why. He is some player, that's for sure, bosses the midfield, and Newcastle suffered quite severely for it. But nevertheless, there were chances. Again, disappointment with Callum Wilson towards the end. Yeah, he could have had 3, but that free header that he had some minutes from the end, straight at the goalkeeper. Yeah, very frustrating.
Just watched it back on Sky. Jamie Redknapp's been highlighting Newcastle's goal today. Kieran Trippier marking on the post from a corner. He flashed back to the game against Tottenham Hotspur, 23rd of October last year. Kieran Trippier on the post again. Harry Kane wrestling Kieran Trippier off the ball and then tucking it in at the back post in a 2-1 win for Newcastle. So highlighting maybe a chink in Kieran Trippier's armour there?
Yeah, I think so. Albeit he is a very clever player and usually doesn't get caught like that. And I think that, okay, so it happened once last season, it's happened once so far this season. I think we can forgive him that. But if it becomes a regular feature, then the manager has got to do something about it. He's got to put somebody else on the post and pull Trippier off. But you know, at the back, I thought Newcastle looked fine in the back. But what I was seeing, and this was from about the first 15 minutes onwards, was that the ball would get into midfield and they would lose it with a silly pass. And it was happening over and over again. If you're going to be battling in the kind of position that Newcastle find themselves now, you've got to get your passing right. That's an absolute must. And we gave it away so many times in midfield that I was getting really frustrated.
Anthony Gordon, a lot of talk about Anthony Gordon. He's come on. For me personally, I think Anthony Gordon did more in 15 minutes than St Maximin has done in the last 2 months.
Anthony Gordon!
Only 2 months, Steve.
Oh, Anthony Gordon!
Yes, he's got fabulous feet as Gordon. Yeah, he looks one hell of a player, and I'm looking forward to seeing an awful lot more of him. St Maximin accomplished nothing whatsoever today, and he's been given chance after chance. In actual fact, sitting where I was, and I was in the press box, yes, and there were people around, and they were saying it looks like he's already got a move planned for the end of the season, and he's not looking bothered one iota. And I couldn't argue with him. He didn't, to me, look as if he was bothered whether he changed the game or got Newcastle back ahead or whatever. He wasn't interested, and I'm afraid I just don't like those kinds of situations.
We looked at Lucas Paqueta for the first time. It's a name that Newcastle fans in the bar will only be too common with. Linked with Paqueta time and time again. Bruno's best mate, wearing a black and white shirt in his back garden. He's coming to Newcastle. Did we swerve a bullet there? I know he scored today, but I've got to be honest, I watched him today and I thought he's no Bruno like.
Yeah, I don't think he's a match for Bruno at all. Albeit, frustratingly for us, he did score. No, I don't think that he's perhaps quite the level that we're actually looking for. So, yeah, we dodged the bullet on that one for sure.
I agree with Mark.
Man of the match today, for me personally, I give it to Sean Longstaff. It could have been Joe Linton. I mean, Joe Linton and Longstaff teamed up for that ball through to Wilson for that goal. Other than that, I was looking at Botman. I thought Botman today, he's 9 out of 10 most weeks, 10 out of 10 the rest. That one challenge he did just inside our half where Antonio in other games probably would have gone through and scored the winner. Botman just bang, did what he does, stopped the ball going through. But I think I give it to Longstaff again because of his work rate. What about you?
His work rate is absolutely phenomenal, and also rarely did he lose the ball today. It was others that were losing possession. Yeah, I'll go along with you, Steve. I thought he was the best. Shard didn't do so badly, but nevertheless, I thought the standout was young Sean. Well done to him. I'll give him man of the match along with you. It must have been very disappointing for Nick Pope not to have got that record that he was after. Yeah, very frustrating indeed.
Gives him something to aim for, that's for certain. A lot of conversations I've had in the bar today, at the match today, have been about achievement this season. And if you'd asked anybody, as we did in August, what would be success this season, winning a trophy. So I think we'd all love to go to Wembley and see Newcastle beat Manchester United and beat Manchester United and win that Carabao Cup. League position, for 14 years it's all been about staying in the division, keeping out of the relegation zone. We're now looking at the top end of the table going, well, Arsenal got beat today, so we've gained a point on Arsenal, and Chelsea drew last night, so we're another, but let's be realistic here. Newcastle haven't at this moment in time, because of financial fair play, got a real chance in the Champions League. Would it be better if he started looking at the likes of Anderson and giving those other players a bit of a run out in the league and giving them the opportunity? Because, you know, it's going to be a tough one. Do you want to see Newcastle push on, win games, win as many games as they can and see where they finish?
Push on, win games, and really go for the very best that you can possibly get. Anderson and the rest, they will be picking up experience all the way along, and I would love to see Newcastle playing in Europe at whatever level next season, albeit we are under strength for Europe, particularly the Champions League. We haven't got the depth in the squad to cover that, and so I really am of the opinion, go for Europe by all means, and keep bringing the youngsters on at the same time. And it was important. I thought Anderson did ever so well. I thought he did absolutely terrific, and well done him for that. But yeah, when you've got that chance, you go for broke. You have to.
How important as well is it for the fans to see 3 Geordies on the pitch today? Longstaff, Anderson and Dan Byrne all on the pitch at the same time. It's great to see.
Yeah, 2 had good games and 1 had a shit game out of that 3. But no, it's excellent that Newcastle can field Geordies in the way that they have done. Well done on that. I felt that Dan Byrne had one of his poorest games. You know, I just hope that he's not a centre-half who starts now to think that he can play. He's got to keep it simple, keep it safe at all times, and don't take risks. And let the really good players take the risks. Dan Byrne, I think that there comes a time when you're playing out of position. There comes a time when you think, oh, yeah, I'm starting to get comfortable in this position. He's there for a reason, and he's forgetting what that reason is. He's got to be reminded.
Last question today. Stick or twist for Eddie next week then? ASM didn't perform today. Isaac will be back after his week out because of concussion. Would you give Isaac a chance to start next week? Because I think a lot of people may have thought he would start instead of Wilson. Do you think he might get a chance instead of ASM?
Without a shadow of a doubt, I'd play because Isaac, whenever he comes on, whenever he's on the pitch, he makes a difference for the positive. And so, yes, get Isaac on straight away, and Gordon as well, and ASM. Well, I really do feel that he's just cantering his way through to a transfer come the end of the season.
Ladies and gentlemen, he's in before the match and after the match every week. Put your hands together for a living legend, Supermac!